What is up, YouTube? This is Anashi with yet another deck profile video. This time I will be showcasing my red deck, the Fire deck. This is really going to be more of an update, as if any of you have seen the old profile video, then you know exactly what this deck has. I made a few updates to some cards, some small changes in the numbers, and I like to think that it actually runs a lot faster and better thanks to the help of some testing from some friends who gave me some positive feedback on it. Let's see where this goes. Starting right off, we have 3 Brotherhood of the Fire Fist Boar. It's the tuner of the deck, and I don't really see the point of having any others because I don't synchro a lot in this deck. I'm more Xyz than anything. It can't be used as a synchro summon except for a fire, which is fine because this deck's all fire. If it's destroyed by battle, you get to summon a different Fire Fist from your deck, which will obviously be the 2 Caribou I run. But since battle destruction isn't exactly a big thing right now, you more often have to deal with effect destruction, if anything. It's not really a relevant effect. But if you were to summon a Fire Fist monster from your extra deck while this card's on the field, you can set a Fire Formation spell straight from your deck. Caribou, on the other hand, lets you summon Boar from the deck if Caribou is destroyed by card effect, which, given that this deck is all about explosions, that happens quite often. And if you were to use this card as a synchro material for a Fire Fist monster, you get to set a Fire Formation spell straight from deck. So, despite the fact that he's only run at 2, you get his effect off way more often than you get the other. For the Coach part of the deck, there's 3 Coach Soldier Wolfbark. Once per turn, you can special summon a level 4 Fire Beast Warrior from your graveyard. But, you know, summons in defense, no effects. Its effect can only be used once per turn. And then we get to the Fire King part of the deck. The part of the deck that I like to think is the most important. You got your Fire King Avatar Barongs. Now, all the 4 and lower Fire Kings share the same effects. If a Fire King monster you control is destroyed by a card effect, except during the damage step, you can special summon this card from your hand. But this one's unique effect is that if it's destroyed by a card effect, during the next standby phase, you get to search any Fire King card from your deck to your hand. Yaksha, on the other hand, has an effect that says that if it's destroyed, it doesn't matter how, you can destroy 1 card in your hand, or that you control, but you can only use its effect once per turn, whereas you can use Barongs as many times as you like, as long as you can keep blowing it up. Of course, Fire Kings really are not complete without Fire King Avatar High Garunix. If it's destroyed by card effect, you special summon it during the next standby phase, and it blows up every other monster on the field. If it's destroyed by battle, for whatever unforsakably weird reason, then you can summon a Fire King monster from your deck, except another High Avatar Garunix. Then we move to the spells, starting off with 2 Circle of the Fire Kings. This card's actually searchable thanks to Barong. You target a fire monster you control and a fire monster in the grave, destroy the monster you control, and if you do, special summon the other monster from your grave. You only activate 1 a turn. 3 Fire Formation Tenki lets you literally search anything except Garunix out of the deck and add it to your hand. And Tensu lets you get an extra normal summon of anything except Garunix. Triple Fire King Island. This card sets the deck going. Destroy 1 card, and you can add a Fire King monster from your deck to your hand. Or, if you control no monsters, you can special summon a Fire Winged Beast from your hand. And if the spell leaves the field, or is banished, then all monsters you control are destroyed. Double MST, Triple Onslaught of the Fire Kings. The spell is amazing in this deck. Special summon any Fire Beast, Beast Warrior, or Wing Beast from your deck. Doesn't ignore summoning conditions, but regardless, not a single one of these cards has one. And it's destroyed during the end phase. Pair of 7th ones, because this deck has the 7th one target of fire. And of course, 1 Rekindling. Special summons all monsters from your graveyard with 200 or just 200 defense of fire attributes. And then during the end phase, you remove all of them from play. A lot of people ask me about Blazing Mirror Force for my traps. I traditionally run a standard Mirror Force in every deck unless the deck no longer needs it as basic support. This card helps me out a lot. We all know what it does. Destroys all your opponent's attack position monsters if they declare an attack, and both players take half their total attack points as damage. This hurts my opponents a lot. My monsters are constantly blowing up. I could care less about what's on my field, but I know my opponent cares. And considering that I run a few cards in this deck that actually do a little bit of effect damage, this card's a lot more valuable. Obligatory Bottomless Trap Hole. 2 Jar of Avarice. Now, before anyone flips their shit, there is a reason for this card. I blast through the monsters in the main deck so quickly that if I last until 3rd turn, I usually have no monsters left in the main deck, so all my search cards end up becoming dead. This gives me Revitalization. 2 Memory Loss, the Poor Man's Breakthrough Skill. Attack position monster activates its effect, you switch it to defense mode. And finishing off the main deck, we have Torrential Tribute. Quickly blazing through the side deck, we have the 3rd copy of Caribou, we have our other Yaksha, we have our 3rd Garunix, we have 1 Sacred Phoenix of Nephthys. I'm debating on putting this card back in the main deck when spell traps become more valuable, but it is not bad. It's just not as good as I like. We have the 3rd Circle, we have the MST, the 2 Dark Holes, and the Terraforming. I don't see the point in Terraforming in the main deck. I can just as easily search it with Barong. And then, of course, we also have the Compulsory, the 3rd Jar, the 2 Fiendish Chain, the Mirror Force, and Vanities. And now we finish up with the extra deck. We have 2 Brotherhood of the Fire Fist Kirin. As long as it's face up, your opponent loses 100 attack for each face-up spell trap you control. Considering you run Fire Formation spell traps and the field spell, that's usually a minimum of 300. And when it's Synchro Summoned, you set a Fire Formation spell trap from the deck. Crimson Blader, on the other hand, I finally got my hands on a 2nd copy. If it destroys an opponent's monster by battle and sends it to the grave, your opponent cannot normal or special summon level 5 or higher monsters during their next turn. These 2 cards actually work really well in tandem. We also have 3 of the Brotherhood of the Fire Fist Tiger Kings, 2 level 4 Beast Warriors, and when it's summoned, you can set a Fire Formation spell trap. You can attach material to negate all effects except Beast Warriors until the end of this turn. It's during your turn only, by the way. And if it's destroyed while you have 3 or more Fire Formation spell traps, well, you can send those 3 Fire Formation spell traps to the graveyard along with it and summon 2 more Beast Warriors with the same attack in defense mode. A little weird. But we also have Crooked Cook. This is the card I've been waiting for. 2 level 4s. If you have no other cards on the field, he is immune to all card effects. And during your turn, you can detach a material and destroy all other cards you control, and if you do, he gains 300 attack for each monster that was destroyed by this effect. So it sets off some effects. And yeah, it's mainly just a beat stick and a out to cards and effects that I may not like. And of course, the double 105 Battling Boxer Star Cestus. 3 level 4, so I don't summon it very often, but when I do, people get irritated. When a Battling Boxer monster during either player's battle step battles an opponent's monster, you can detach a material, negate the effects of the opponent's monster till the end of the turn. The monster you control can't be destroyed. Your opponent takes any battle damage you would have taken. Of course, 105 is also my rank up target for a 7th one, and C105 is his upgrade. If he destroys a monster by a battle and sends it to the grave, the opponent takes damage equal to half that monster's attack. In addition, its detach effect is that when you detach a material from it, you can target a monster your opponent controls, destroy it, and if you do, you inflict damage to them equal to their attack. This combined with Blazing Mirror Force, if you were lucky enough to use both effects, usually gets you pretty close to winning the game. And then, of course, the Coach King Giant Trainer. Been seeing a hike on price on this card, but it's probably not going to last. You detach a material, draw a card, and reveal it, and if it was a monster, inflict battle damage to your opponents. You can't conduct your battle phase the turn you activate this effect, but you can use this effect up 3 times in a single turn. So if you're lucky, you might see 2,400 damage. And it requires 3 level 8s. And that is the deck. The fact that it fits in so well with the element of fire and destruction, it makes it fun for me to play, with me being an archetype purist and a theme player. it goes perfectly well with my other 12 decks. If any of you guys have recommendations for things that I could do to improve this deck, feel free to let me know. In the meantime, though, I hope you enjoyed the deck profile. This has been Nanashi, signing out.